another video. So we gotta talk about these people. They laying people off. It's tough out here in the NFL streets. I know it's Black Monday, but it's like Black Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They dedicated a whole week this time. They didn't spare nobody. Usually you think if you get fired on Monday, if you don't get fired on Monday, usually you cool. But no, people been getting the boot. So we got to talk about a little bit of it. We're gonna start with the earliest one. Atlanta Falcons. They fired a GM, Terry Fontenot, and Raheem Morris. Atlanta, y'all couldn't fire this man on Monday. Y'all had to fire him after he had a ending game press conference. Like, did you have to fire him Sunday night? He couldn't at least go to bed and do it like everybody else did on Monday. Did you get a head start on the coaching by firing this man about 8, 9, 10 hours earlier? I don't understand. But yeah, Raheem Morris, he's done 16 and 18 in 2 seasons. That's all they gave this man. Back to back 8 and 9 seasons. 17th ranking defense and offense, middle of the pack. I guess that's pretty much the point. The GM, Terry, he was responsible for bringing in Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, Jason Walker, James Pence Jr., Michael Penix Jr., Drake London. Sounds like a good amount of talent. But they do not own their own first round draft because they traded it to get James Pence Jr. So they traded that to the Rams, and the Rams own that. But that's kind of wild that y'all cut that man out. He did the press conference, and then it was like Sunday Night Football. This boy is getting the boot. Like, you could at least waited to Monday like everybody else, but it's Atlanta. Raheem Morris, his issue, I guess, was middle of the pack. 8, 9, you basically breaking even or under. And I think they feel with the talent that I just named, it should be more of a result. Michael Penix Jr. did tear his ACL, so he won't be back to mid of the season next year. And you do have your first cousins, Kirk Cousins, he's still down there. He can handle business, but how much longer do you want Kirk Cousins? How much longer do you want that cap hit is the question. So they're going to need a new GM and a new coach. I think it's some talent to work with in Atlanta. I don't know if Raheem Morris was the one to bring it out of them. He's been so okay. He's not a bad guy. And I mean, I think he's a better defensive coordinator than he is a whole coach. But we can say that about a lot of people. Better coordinator than they are a coach. I'm surprised they let the GM go. I thought he was bringing in talent. I don't know what more they wanted. I think he did make some pretty good draft picks. And I think even though they don't have their first round pick, I think they can still build this team up and become a playoff team. Losing your starting quarterback never helps. And I mean, I think that's really what it is. You're going to have to deal with that. You're going to have to use Kirk Cousins. You have to use him for at least half a season. Or you're going to have to draft somebody else, unfortunately. Or you got to sign one of these available quarterbacks or quarterbacks that's about to be available and go from there. But, I mean, 8 and 9, you really just missed the playoffs by that much because Carolina is 8 and 9. So, I mean, unless this division takes a leap, you might be able to win a game or two and you'll be in the playoffs. So, I think there's hope for you, but we'll see what that team does. Moving on, we got to talk about Cleveland Browns. Kevin Stefanski, he's out of here. 5 years. 2-time coach of the year. He won the first playoff game for the Browns back in 21. First playoff victory in 25 years. Congratulations to you. He has a 45 and 56 record, but eight wins and 26 losses the last 2 seasons. I think that's what got him the boot. 31st in offense. You're supposed to be the offensive-minded coach, offensive coordinator background, and the offense does not look good. Now, with Cleveland, before we talk about the quarterbacks, you had to fix that offensive line. It looks raggedy. It went from one of the best to one of the worst quickly. Guys get old, I understand. Guys leave. Guys ain't playing up to potential, all of that. But that has to be restructured. Don't matter who you put back there. So that's going to have to be done. You probably need to get Myles Garrett a running mate. He needs somebody on the other side of the ball. Just imagine, he did 23 sacks without having another guy that can take that pressure off of him consistently. Just imagine what he can do when somebody else is over there. I guess Mason Graham, the top draft pick from this year, he's supposed to be your guy in the middle, but maybe he takes a leap and at least draw some attention away from Myles Garrett where he doesn't have to work so hard. But what it comes down to is Stefanski and just Cleveland period is the handling of the quarterback situation, because a lot of people didn't like how he took care of the situation. Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, and we do have Deshaun Watson coming back, and Cleveland is not willing to cut him because they will owe a lot of money. We talking about $100 million out here in these streets, so he's probably gonna be your starter for Cleveland Browns. That's gonna be your starter probably, and then Shedeur and Gabriel is probably gonna flip flop between 2 and 3. But at least you got to see what you have between these two young dudes, because at some point you're gonna get rid of Watson. I don't know when, but at some point. But you need to fix this offensive line. You need a running mate for Myles Garrett, and I guess you got a good sample size of Shedeur and Dylan to see where you can go in the future, but you do need some playmakers. So you have the pick from Jacksonville. You probably need to see what that's about on the receiver side of the game, because I don't know if you're keeping Judy. I don't know if Judy keeping Judy at this point, but yep. So, I mean, Stefanski, not a bad coach, but I think the way he handled the quarterback and just the offense, so it's kind of like it's on him because they expect you to overcome a lot of this stuff, but it's only so much you can do. And truth be told, he'll have another job. He probably has another job as we speak. He's probably getting that together now, so it really doesn't matter. You're out of Cleveland. But I know he wanted better. He wanted a better situation, but it didn't look right handling Shedeur the way he did, because it just seems like he wanted nothing to do with him. And maybe it's because him and Dylan Gabriel have the same agent, but I don't want to go too deep down that rabbit hole. Just putting it out there, Could be something to think about. Let's move on to the Las Vegas Raiders. Pete Carroll, he's been released. 3 wins, 14 losses in one season. He only got 1. That's what he did. That's what they gave him. He was brought in to restore order, but it became dysfunctional. 30 dead last in offense. We just gonna say that. 14th in defense. Not too bad. They won their first game and then lost 14 out of the next 15. And here we are. They have the number 1 pick in the draft. So might lose Max Crosby, because I'm pretty sure he's going to be set free, as he should. You got this going for you, Tom Brady. He's going to help with the next hiring of the head coach. But I thought he helped with this one, so who knows? Alshon Gentry, Brock Bowers, Trey Tucker. Some names there, but they have the same problem that the Cleveland Browns have. Offensive line, awful. And Brendan Carroll, Pete Carroll's son, reports say that he was not teaching the offensive line well. He was rushing through drills, and it wasn't much attention to detail. So pretty much offensive players have to join together outside of practice to learn the offense and learn where they should be and line up. That's not good at all. You would expect more from a coach like Pete Carroll, but the thing with Pete Carroll is he was brought in to be a short term. He's 74. How much longer was he going to coach? He was just probably coming in to right the ship and give them some kind of order and structure, and then have somebody take over. But 3-14, that's not structure at all. That's dysfunction. You can grab a couple guys from your neighborhood, your job, and you can go probably gather up 3 wins, But you would expect more from a more world-renowned coach, but nepotism, as they say. Probably shouldn't bring. If he gets another job, you should probably leave your son where he's at. This should probably be the last time you bring him, because this is not the first time we heard about your son having too much leeway or freedom at the job. It happened in Seattle and it's happening here. So it seems like this is getting you released from these jobs. You probably need to leave him where he's at. Hire outside the family. That could be work. Probably ain't supposed to mix that anyway, but that's not my business. Geno Smith is still available for this team. The thing with that is we don't know if they're going to keep Geno. And I'm not saying that Geno is garbage, but with the number 1 pick on the line, Fernando Mendoza, Heisman Trophy winner for Indiana, you probably should get your bags packed for Vegas, because that might be where you headed, son. You on your way, because they're going to have to do something. They're going to have to make a splash with this number 1 pick. Coaching wise, you just going to have to start all over with this team. So at least get your quarterback and go from there. But we're going to move on. Jonathan Gannon, he was fired from the Arizona Cardinals. 3 years, 15 wins, 36 losses. He was brought in to have a defensive input, because he was the defensive coach that led Philly defense when they went to the Super Bowl against Kansas City the first time. They did not win, but he led that defense, and people thought that he was bringing that type of energy to Arizona, and it has not showed up. Been in the bottom 10 in defense all 3 years. The biggest question mark with this team is Kyler Murray. What are you going to do with Kyler Murray? Are you going to keep him? Jacoby Brissett looked really good. 3,000 yards, 366 passing yards, 28 touchdowns in limited time. He basically could have played his way into the starting role next year, but we got to see what we're going to do with Kyler Murray, because he got 2 years left. So the new guy might want to bring in somebody. I think Arizona, has some talent. Harrison Jr., McBride, Wilson. Probably need a running back. Probably need a secure running back. Maybe Trey Benson could be that once he comes off injury. But Josh Sweat was brought down there for the defense, and Walter Nolan, even though he got injured, that was supposed to be your 1-2 punch. And even with that, it just never seemed like the defense looked solid, or Arizona. One thing about this team, they lost a lot of games by 1 possession, 7 of them by a field goal or less. So what do you do with that? I don't know if that's coaching or if that's just bad luck. Either way, it got Gannon out of here. Didn't help on his resume. He'll probably land somewhere as a defense coordinator, maybe with a little bit more talent. But Arizona does have the 3rd pick overall, so maybe you could start fresh with a quarterback. It's nowhere to go but up. Moving on. This was a big one. Baltimore let go John Harbaugh. 18 seasons, 180 wins, 113 losses, 12 playoffs, 6 division titles, 1 Super Bowl. So, and he was 2019 Coach of the Year. With all that being said, the issue with this team was that 1 Super Bowl. 18 years, 1 Super Bowl. This has been a talented team before Lamar and with Lamar. Before Henry and with Henry. And the lack of adjustment. There was reports that Harbaugh refused to let go of his coordinators. Monken came out and said he didn't coach Lamar as well as he should. I thought they seemed like they was doing pretty well, but I guess not good enough. And Zach Orr, former player, I know he is close to the organization in the heart, but maybe he's just not ready for that. But Baltimore does need a pass rusher, so I'm going to give him grace on that. They lacking a pass rusher, which is weird to say because they've always found a pass rusher. But Harbaugh not using Henry in the late game situations. We seen when you use Henry, he works. It just works out for you. And for some odd reason, the lack of adjustment. Um, there was reports that this team would have a game plan in place, and then as the game went on, they would abandon it, which leads to confusion and guys just don't really know what to do. Would be the reason why my wife, who doesn't watch football, has noticed this as well, that the Ravens start off hot and then they go off a cliff. So that should tell you that if somebody that doesn't watch football sees it, I'm pretty sure the people that are in the organization see that and they had to make a change. It's not that Harbaugh is a bad coach. He will land on his feet. It's not that. He'll probably take some young team and build them up, but 18 years with that talent on that team, you're expecting more. And one Super Bowl, I didn't think that was enough. I mean, I don't think they thought it was enough to keep his job, minus the missed field goal. Where was this team gonna go in the playoffs? How far was they gonna go? I know there's been some duds in the playoffs, some bad luck, some drop passes, all of that. But 18 years, you want a little bit more. I mean, playoffs is good, but you would expect more Super Bowls in there because this is the roster. This is a Super Bowl roster. It's been a Super Bowl roster for a long time. So even when guys have got old and been switched out, this team has constantly been in playoff contention. They've pretty much had a chance every year. People thought they had a chance this year, even though after starting 1-5. So it just speaks to the talent that's on the team, and you just think more would happen. But Harbaugh will land on his feet. A new coach will just have to see what him and Lamar is going to do because Lamar only has 2 years left. Could be open to trade. Guys been throwing it out there. Maybe Minnesota. They're not sold on McCarthy. Maybe Miami, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Who knows? But Harbaugh, he'll land on his feet. I think Baltimore will be fine as well. They'll be right back in the playoffs, and he'll be building up another young team. So I think it was a good breakaway for both. So going forward to our last but not least, Mike McDaniels. Mr. Corky himself has been released after 4 years, 35 and 33, right there in the middle. 26 in offense, 22 in defense. He was signed through 28, but the GM Chris Greer was let go of his duties in October, and I think that might have sealed the fate for him. Even though Miami was 2-6, they ended the season on somewhat of a winning streak, but I don't think it meant nothing because they're gonna bring in a new GM, which there's reports that they're looking into the Packers organization. Good place to start, and from there, we're going to see what's going to happen because I didn't think that McDaniels should have got fired, but what can you do? When you have Tua who misses a lot of games, concussion or injuries, you're not going to look good. I mean, McDaniels, his first playoff appearance was with the third string quarterback. What can you do with that? I mean, that's my first entry to the playoffs. So it's like, what do you really want him to do? I guess the offense went stale. I think Tyreek, who's another player, might not be back with this team, and Waddle made up for a lot of Tua's lack of a deep pass. He's able to stretch the ball, but he doesn't have the strongest arm, but Waddle and Hill was able to find their way under the ball and take off and run with it. And when those two were not there at the same time, it's like the offense was built for Tua to succeed with them two. And once they was gone or injuries piled up, Tua looked average or below average at times. I don't think Tua's a bad quarterback, but a lot of interceptions, a lot of timely interceptions, interceptions. He was benched for Quentin Evers. I don't think that's saying much because we don't know what they're gonna do as far as quarterback. Tua he said he's cool with being traded. That kind of lets you know how he feels about the team. Uh, Quentin, I don't know if you go with him as your starter next year. I mean, he's a rookie. I mean, this is his opening. Only a few games. It's not enough to see if he's got it. But Tua's here through 28 as well. So you thought McDaniels and Tua was going to be here at least to 28, but somebody had other plans. Um, the new GM is going to have to see what he's going to do with this team because you do have veterans on the defense and a young core with Waddle and A-Chain. So, but you need to fix that offensive line for real this time. But maybe you bring somebody in that is more mobile because Tua's not the most mobile. And I think Mike McDaniels wanted to run a certain offense, and Tua was not the guy. And I think they made it work as long as they could, but when injuries pile up and guys just get disinterested, that's what happens. Seems like Mike McDaniels tried, but maybe his quirkiness got too quirky for the team. They probably figured like, look, we grown men, we don't care about all that silly stuff. You need to show us a little bit more, and maybe he just didn't know how to do that. But McDaniels, he will be somebody's offensive coordinator. Detroit, you need to get on the phone. That would be a perfect spot for him to go. You can do what you need to do in that offense because, I mean, with St. Brown and Gibbs and Montgomery and Laporta, it shouldn't be no issue of you figuring out what to do with that offense, especially in the dome. And you know Dan Campbell, he's going to let you be aggressive, so there's no chains on you. So I will go ahead and I know Miami and Detroit is a culture shock, but at least you in the dome. I'll go ahead and call Detroit and say I'm available. Don't let them call you. You call them, you know. Go ahead and sign that up for you. Unless you want to end up somewhere in the depths of the sea, you know, like Arizona. So, what did we learn? Can't win with your quarterback injured. You can be a 2-time coach of the year and still get released if you don't handle the quarterback situation the right way. 18 seasons and the Super Bowl is not enough. And you can't be a defensive-minded coach and go 15-36. But you can be a GM that drafts really well and still get fired. And you can only coach for 2 years. Go 8-9 in a terrible division. And be tied with the division winner. You can be 8-9 tied with the division winner and still get fired that year. And you can get fired before Black Monday actually starts. Crazy world out here, but appreciate y'all for watching. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one.